Hey everyone, welcome back to the PC Bombcast presents another edition of our pop culture comic pod. This time around, it's just Bender, Bombcast J, and myself talking about everything and all things comic book and comic book related, with the exception of when Bender tries to sneak in some just normal book, but that's pretty much par for the course with Bender, straying off the path, getting deep into the weeds, and not making any damn sense. Outside of that, though, it's a pretty good episode about a lot of good comics that we've been reading, a lot of good shows that we've seen, and some things that are coming up that we talk about, like Moon Knight. So hopefully you enjoy it. It's all things comic book related. It's the Pop Culture Bombcast presents another edition of the Pop Culture Comic Pod, and it's coming at you as soon as the bomb goes off, which is now. I don't. But I tell you this, I'm almost down 10 full pounds.
Yeah.
Now, I'm on a diet also where I'm not eating a lot of carbs, but the drinking is primarily responsible.
Well,
for
I got it. I found your 10 pounds because I was on that steroid. And the lady's like, oh, this is going to make you gain pounds. And I gained a solid 10 or 12 pounds from it.
We were going to say your face looked a little plump.
It probably is. My stepdad came to volleyball on Friday night and he comes out. I come off the court and he's like, hey, you getting a little fat, John. I'm like, thanks, Dan.
That's exactly Dan. That's hilarious. I was going to say, there was something else I was going to bring up as we were sitting there talking about. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, well, good way to start. But we are back. And this time, once again, we're back with the comic book version of the podcast.
Yeah.
That's right. Nothing but comic books this episode. And comic book related stuff.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say,
so you get TV and movies, but as long as they're related to comic books. Which means I don't have to tell you who's here. I can just tell you only one person's not here, and that's the Silver Badger. So
it's been like 7 years we've been doing this, and we always go the long route when we could just be like, John's not here.
Just tell him.
Everybody else is here.
Yeah, so
you can even just say comics and you'll know Tom's not here.
Yeah, there is no Badger. In fact, what was it? The Badger, he did say next week's a wrestling. He already called it. We're doing a wrestling podcast next week.
Something happening?
It's on TV.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was like a big event coming up.
It just makes him happy. He just that's his outlet in life.
Royal Rumble next weekend.
Oh, that's right. It's in St. Louis.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought something was coming.
And are we still getting together for his birthday in light of how back his
he texted me the other day and said that Topgolf would not budge off a $3,000 deposit.
What?
Like, would not budge off of it. I don't know how many people they invited, but they said they wanted $3,000.
How many? I mean, well, first off, you can only get 6 people per bay.
So I don't know if he wanted like 3 or 4 bays or something. They wanted $3,000. He was like, "I'll give you $500," and they said, "No,
I don't
thanks."
understand the $3,000.
I don't know.
I bet I could call Topgolf because I've organized events there for work.
Maybe.
And it's been real easy.
I sent him a couple other options, and he's like, "I kind of just want to watch the Blues game at a bar." I'm like, let's just do that.
Yeah. My advice to him would be invite the absolute 10 people that you want to be there.
Yeah. If you're dead set on Topgolf, just invite your 10 friends and leave it at that.
There's 2 bays and you're good. Yeah. And it's a normal night.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter because he's not here, and we're going to talk about comic books.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I said, hey, since we haven't done one in a while, let's talk about comic books, is because here of late, between your streaming apps, between your reading apps, and between the interwebs, there's a lot going on in the comic world. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of news. There's been a lot of rumors. There's been a lot of things happen. So I figured, let's just jump right into it. And before we get into all the rumors and the TV and stuff, let's start with stuff we've been reading. Because I've read quite a bit of late.
I've actually kind of fallen off, but I've been traveling a lot. So, go ahead.
How do you not read when you travel?
Because I'm the one driving.
Oh, that's right. Well, you mean I forget. You're not traveling for work.
I'm not flying for work, no.
I think when I travel for work, I usually fly. So I read a lot.
When I fly, I read a lot. But, no, I was the one driving most of the time. I listened to a couple of books that were pretty good, but...
The real books.
Yeah, real ones.
Not the funny ones.
No, yeah.
Well, the first book that I'll talk about that I read, it's Geiger. What piqued my interest on this is it was Jeff Johns, who there was a time when he was the superstar man at DC Comics.
Yeah.
Before, umpteen million reboots and whatever. Most notable claim to fame was what he did with The Flash, which was significant. And pretty, I mean, you could put his run on the Flash up against anyone's run on anything. It was very good. And one of the reasons he made it very good was his handling of Flash's Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
And then it was drawn by Gary Frank, and I love Gary Frank.
Jeff Johns or Jeff Johnson?
Jeff Johns.
Johns, okay.
Yeah. And I love Gary Frank's art. I've loved it forever. Whether he was doing Hulk, whether he was doing... what did he do? He did that one of the J. Michael Straczynski book that I really liked.
Did he do some of the new X-Men with Grant Morrison, too?
Yes, he did some of that. He also, I think, didn't he do the Watchmen, the newest Doomsday Clock one? I think that was Gary Frank's arc on that. So the whole premise of the book is it's set years after a nuclear war. They call the what do they call it? The Unknown War. And it's in the United States, part of the area of the United States in Vegas. There's all these communities that are built up that are isolated and protecting themselves, but people do travel place to place. They just have to be in containment suits and stuff. Well, there's a guy, the glowing man, who's out there running free, and he's essentially just protecting this fallout shelter where his family was hidden. And when the fallout the fallout gets better for him, he's going to let him out. That's his whole hook. And the reason he can run around is he had cancer before the nuclear bomb went off, and he was caught outside, and whatever it was with the radiation inside, well, he has these 2 boron rods in his back, and as long as they're in there, he's a normal person. But when he pulls them out, the nuclear radiation starts, and he becomes a glowing guy where you can see his skeleton, and if he leaves them out too long, he could explode.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a vigilante hero, and they're essentially like Vegas is like ran like a King Arthur. Like there's a king because of all the casinos that look like castles, and every territory is ran different. There's some that are a little more civilized, and it's essentially like Walking Dead, only a nuclear fallout.
Yeah.
Now, is it great? No. Is the concept good? And he looks really cool, and there's a lot of great.
He does look really
effects.
cool. I just looked at the art.
A lot of great drawing effects with him. I give it a 3 out of 5. I've only read the first trade, and the second one's not out.
Who made it?
Image.
Yeah, it's an Image book.
Yeah, I just downloaded it. I'll have to go to read.
Jeff Johns is doing creator-owned stuff now?
Yeah.
Because he's been with one of the big 2 for pretty much his whole career, right?
That's why I couldn't get it. I forgot his name spelled with a G.
Oh, yeah, Geoff.
Because I can't think of anything creator-owned he's done.
That's a good question. Bender, while you're on your phone, will you look that up and see if he's written any other creator-owned stuff? I mean, he cut his teeth on Flash.
Yeah.
No, he did he's got one Black Hammer Visions thing, but that's not his.
Yeah, but he did. Yeah, he's done some of that. He's helped. What's that? What's that guy's name? Starts with an L.
Jeff Lemire.
Yeah, he's helped him develop some of that stuff. But if he didn't, that's not his.
Yeah.
No, he does. He did all the Year One stuff or Earth One stuff.
Yeah.
He did Teen Titans.
Did a great run on Teen Titans.
Justice League.
He was creatively in charge of DC for a little while.
Yeah.
Infinite Crisis is his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
He-Man. I tried reading that He-Man. I did not like it.
Yeah.
I think his lone Marvel thing was Avengers for a run after.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Busick, I think.
You want to know what, real quick? I'll get off on a tangent here, which we do, and we're allowed to do it on comics. But you want to know what I want to bitch about when it comes to all of the apps? You can't find Marvel's Conan books on the Marvel app.
No.
And I don't like that.
Is it copyright? It's got to be a copyright.
Yeah, it's because they don't own the character. They're just getting the ability to produce material
New
for the
ones?
character. Yeah.
Okay.
But-
So even like Savage Avengers, which he was a part of, they
Can't
put
get
on
it.
the app.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't find it. You can only get. There's one of the miniseries that he appeared in, and you can. He's in that because he's only in it for like the first issue and the last issue. But I really want to read his Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And Hoopla doesn't have it. They don't have it because they can't produce it.
You have to just get like out of print books. I guess.
I have to go buy the
And
single
pay
issues.
A shit
Yeah.
ton of them for him,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
I wonder if they probably would even have an omnibus for that. Would the
I don't think so.
I don't think he's in any of the materials.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, I don't know.
Because I know Dark Horse had him for a while, and then
And that was that was Kerry Nord and Kurt Busiek.
Yeah.
And that was a very, very strong run. And then later, I can't remember who took over the writing after Busiek left, but his run was very solid on it too.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's very irritating, but Anyway, that's the first book. I got one more book I want to talk about, but if you've got another book, or if you got a book, Jay, jump into it.
So my daughter had started picking up Superman, Son of Kal-El.
Okay.
That's the big controversial.
That's the bisexual son one? Okay.
Yeah. I'm 3 issues in. It's a pretty good read. It ties into a lot of, or some of the old Wildstorm stuff. Because...
Like Stormwatch and stuff like that?
Yeah. So, like, the Weatherman is the president of Gomorrah, which is an island from Wildstorm.
Okay.
And apparently he's like a dictator there. I'm only 2 issues into his story, so I don't know too much about how they're going to explain him being a superhero in the past and now an island dictator, but...
Okay.
Well, the Weatherman, though, if there was one that ran...
Is that different than Red Tornado?
Yeah, no, yeah. So Weatherman was an actual Wildstorm person who ran, and it was their version of Justice League, except he turned out to be bad.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of running it for his own agenda. So if it's the same Weatherman, I can see where he'd end up being a dictator pretty easy. But that was it was that character. It was his demise that led immediately into the formation of the Authority after Stormwatch went out.
Okay.
That was
just a great
Warren
run.
Ellis run.
Yeah, that was that from that Stormwatch to that Authority to Planetary. That was just a good years for Image Comics.
Yeah, it was.
Right there. So you bought is it a trade or is it?
No, she's getting single issues.
And how many
of it.
is out so far?
I think there's 8 in an annual.
Oh, real quick. Let's come. I want to come back to what your overall thoughts on like the grade of it is so far. But tell people where you got it because I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah, so there's a new comic shop that opened out this way. Over
really?
Bryan Road and Feisey behind the Quick Trip there.
Oh, okay.
It's Bugs Comics. Gone in there a few times. They don't have a lot as far as back issues, but I mean they're a new shop.
Yeah.
So.
What's awesome about that is it's super close to
I drive by
your,
there all the time.
Yeah, it's super close to your house, and I drive by it 3 times a week for soccer.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be a must stop. In fact, I now know where I'm going to go for free comic book day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna end up spending another $30 or $40 a week for no reason.
Yeah, because
Not no reason, but
I'll support somebody.
Yeah, and that was our point. We stopped in there and we saw the comic, and I'm like, you'll like it. It's the character from the TV show, kind of.
Yeah.
And she's big on those Arrowverse shows. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she's really enjoyed it. So it caused me to sit down and start it.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man,
so
I
haven't gotten to the point where he comes out yet, but you can tell it's coming.
And who's the writer of that?
That's Tom Taylor.
Oh,
he's a good writer.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll segue into what I'm about to talk about then. The next series, and I'm sorry about that. We just had this natural segue.
I know how show business works.
Nightwing, the brand new Nightwing series. Well, not brand new. One trade is out called "Leaping into the Light." Tom Taylor, artist Bruno Redondo. I don't know who he is, but man, his art's fantastic in this.
Okay.
I mean, fantastic. I don't know what. Can you look up whatever else he might have drawn?
Bruno Redondo?
Redondo. Redondo.
Yeah.
That's how that's said. It's collecting issues 78 to 83. I'm not going to get too far into it.
Oh, he's got that vintage style of artwork.
It's beautiful. The coloring's beautiful. The whole point of this is Nightwing is back. He's got his own memories back. He knows who he is. He's back in Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what he wants to do, but he's really, like, his heart's hurting to do something more than just punch bad guys in the face every day. And it just so, then the last time he was in Bloodhaven, he had a lot of money that Bruce had left him, which had all been stolen and pissed away when he was CIA agent or secret agent or whatever. Well, as it turns out, Alfred has been a billionaire his whole life too, because
convenient.
He'd been being paid with Wayne stock every year, and he's never done anything with it. He'd give it to Dick after his death, and what was that? The
City of Bane.
City of Bane. After his death, he left all of his money to Dick because he said he's the only person he would trust to know how to put it to good use. So this whole gimmick of this one is there's Nightwing still fighting crime, and then which Bloodhaven's really rant corrupt, and then there's Dick Grayson who's fighting it on the other side by opening up shelters, and he's creating the Alfred Pennyworth Foundation.
Okay,
and it's this one. So back when Chuck Dixon wrote Nightwing, that first Nightwing run with Chuck Dixon, and who was the artist? I loved his art. I've got it. I mean, it's I can't remember his art, but his art was awesome.
I'll look that up too.
Yeah, you do. What did Redondo? You didn't.
He did. The only non-DC book he's done is he did Darth Maul in 2013, but everything else is Suicide Squad and Injustice, and that mostly Injustice and Suicide Squad.
That makes
and
sense.
Nightwing.
Injustice.
But his art is gorgeous. It reminds one of the books is he's got those splash pages, kind of like it's more detailed, but like the Hawkeye.
Yeah,
where like it's him running, but it's like scene and scene and scene and scene.
His pages like that with
but it's more detailed.
Tumbling and stuff are great.
Yeah.
God, I can't remember who wrote. I know you're looking it up. And
Chuck Redondo? Is that what?
Who the Chuck Dixon Nightwing run, which was the guy who drew it was fantastic. I thought he was going to be a superstar, and he went on to do a lot of big stuff for a while, but then kind of faded out. Anyway. One thing I brought up to you before Bender got here is there's this really cool moment when he has all this money and he's going around and talking to people, and he ends up in Metropolis, and Superman comes up and goes, "What do I owe your pledge? To what do I owe this pleasure, Dick?" And he goes, "Well, I need your advice." And he goes, "Well, I doubt that, but I'm willing to listen." And
Joe Duffy?
No, was it Joe Duffy?
It's like if it's Nightfall, it's Doug Monek, Alan Grant, Chuck Dixon, Joe Duffy,
Doug Mankey, who was awesome art too. But I think it was
Mike Minnelli.
No, I think it was Duffy. I'm gonna confirm your.
Well, it says writer. So after I said that, it said writer.
Oh yeah, that's.
So it's Mike Minnelli, Graham Nolan.
Let me see. And I had the book. The book might even be over there.
That
somewhere.
was Bane Nightfall.
No, it was after Nightfall.
Yeah, it was after.
Oh, was it? Oh, that was Nightfall. Then I'm sorry.
It was. Here it is, right here. It was. God darn it! I have it.
Loving Bullets.
Now it's making me mad.
This is Scott McDaniel.
Scott McDaniel. That was it. And his art was awesome. But this run really makes me feel like that run.
Yeah.
It's the Nightwing character on his own. But so he goes to Metropolis. He goes, I want to run something by you. And Superman says, they just do a, skip to the next panel, jump ahead. He goes, well, that sounds like a pretty big plan you've got there, Dick. He goes, but what are you looking for my advice for? It sounds like you've already got it mapped out. And he said, well, he goes, is it too small? He goes, no, it's focused. And if you're focused, everyone else will take notice. And that's how real change is made. And he goes, and besides, Dick, he goes, you don't need my advice. He goes, in fact, if there was one person on this planet I would send anyone to get advice, it's to you. He goes, you're the one of the best men I know. And he goes, in fact, now that you're here, you remind me I've got a favor to ask you. I'm going to be off the planet for a while. My son's going to take over. Mm-hmm. He goes, I can't think of a better person to help lead him when he has problems than you. And I was like, oh, that's a good moment.
Yeah,
that's a cool. Good. It's what.
Which is funny because in the first issue of that Superman series, he goes to Damian for advice.
Yeah, that is funny. And that's part of what is really cool. In fact, if there's only one negative about this, I read through it so fast and I'm not reading it as the new issues come out. But it's the one I told you that almost made me buy the DC app again. And I'm like,
oh, really?
But that app sucks. I mean, it sucks. So I'm not going to do it. But
I've been trying to get back into Batman. I just haven't found a story that I really liked.
Well, this Nightwing is on Hoopla.
I'll check it out.
So read it, and it's a solid 4 out of 5. It might be 4.5 out of 5 for me because it introduces a new bad guy named Heartless.
Okay.
And then it's got Blockbuster, and then it's got one of the crime families from Gotham. So I highly recommend it. I
tried Chip Zdarsky's. Is it Zdarsky? How do you say that? Zdarsky?
You pronounce it any way you want.
Chip Zdarsky's Batman run.
You didn't dig it, you said.
Or the Red Hood. I just couldn't get into it. But I did the book. Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
The last book that I did read all the way through was Spider-Man Spider Shadow, which is Chip Zdarsky's like what if situation that Spider-Man never gave up the black suit.
Okay.
And it's pretty good. Overall, it ends the same way every Spider-Man book ends that you kind of wanted to. Like, he comes back, but he gets like real freaking dark for a while.
Yeah.
He just starts murdering people. He's like, he's losing people, and he's like, every time I do something to try to save somebody, I end up hurting somebody else. So he's like, I'm just gonna start killing everyone, and he just starts murdering everyone. It's great. It's
he
very
didn't
weird.
strut down the street or anything? Like,
No struts down the street. There's no musical numbers.
Which is better, Tobey Maguire's strutting down the street because of Venom, or for all of about 10 minutes, Dark Superman in the awful Richard Pryor Superman movie.
Ooh.
They're one is kooky and the other one is campy. So
Yeah.
I mean, if that makes sense,
I listened to a whole pod because I did not remember that movie at all.
I loved it as a kid.
He like sleeps with a woman and like lies to her, like just completely out
Oh, he
of
does.
character.
He's a bad guy. He sleeps with a woman that is going to commit suicide by jumping off the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, he's like totally takes advantage of a clearly deranged, like messed up woman at her lowest point.
Yeah,
that's like
really messed up.
Homelander area.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the other thing I'm reading, I'm only a couple issues in, and I don't know anything about this guy. I didn't. Is that Strange Adventures by Tom King? Did you guys read that?
No, I want to. I know Ross. I've went off on his long-winded things, but he's talked about it.
It's good. I just don't know much about the character. And the premise basically is, so far that is set up, is that he bounces between one planet and another, and he was trying to save the planet. And he was trying to save that planet, and they end up and he marries the king of that planet's daughter, and that planet ends up falling. Well, he comes back to Earth as a hero. Am I being too loud?
No, you're good.
Well, he comes back to Earth as a hero, and he writes a book about his adventures. And some guy, when he's at a book signing, starts going off on him about how he committed genocide of these people on this other planet and stuff. And he's like, okay, man, whatever, you're crazy. Well, like, that guy leaves, and then he's found dead with his head's exploded by a laser bolt. Like, basically, they're like, you clearly killed him. And he's like, I didn't kill him. So then he goes,
very Tom King story.
Yeah, so he goes to Batman, and he's like, listen, man, I need my name cleared. You're the only detective and he goes, I'm not impartial because you're a friend of mine. I can't do it. So I don't know anything about this guy, but Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He gets Mr. Terrific to do it, and they're in...
we'll talk about Mr. Terrific.
The guy in Strange Adventures and his wife, they're pissed about it because he's kind of like... He's playing that bad cop all the way through it.
Yeah.
I'm like 3 or 4 issues in. It's pretty good, but it's very Tom King, and it's like, where is this going?
Yeah.
It's taking a while.
Mr. Terrific's like the third smartest person in DC.
Yeah.
He's the Justice Society's Batman, and I don't mean that in a sense that he's dark, brooding, and the ultimate hand-to-hand guy, but he's the ex machina of the Justice Society.
Yeah, and he's got this...
Yeah.
Anytime there's a problem, Mr. Terrific has a solution, just like Batman just appears up with a solution.
Well, he's got this like robot that just follows him around
T-spheres.
and just asks him quiz questions constantly, and he answers them. And so far he hasn't got one wrong. So
the multiple different storylines, one we'll talk about here in a little bit in the letter column version of Throw It to Missy, is the T-spheres have been co-opted by villains before because he can use those to monitor and do things, and they've been networked around the world, spying on people. All kinds of stuff is happening.
I should mention that
Very OMAC.
OMAC, yeah, it is OMAC, yeah.
I should mention Mitch Gerard is the artist again. They almost always work together, those two, and his art is spectacular.
Yeah, it tells a great story.
And if you don't follow him on Instagram, he's a fun Instagram follow. He does most of his drawing at night after he drinks. Like, he's always making like a Manhattan or an old fashioned or something. He'll start doing his art. I guess a couple weeks ago he had one too many and put on a suit and then took a bunch of crazy pictures and then posted those pictures and cropped himself into the Sabotage video where like it would go off and then it'd be like and it's just him like going like this. It was hilarious. He's like, yeah, this escalated quickly.
He looks fun.
Yeah, he looks like a good time. He's got wild hair and a big old bushy beard, and
his art's awesome too.
Yeah, his art is absolutely spectacular. He's definitely worth following on Instagram.
Reminds me of the same style of storytelling that what's his name? Who drew Bendis's run on David Mack? Not David Mack.
Maleev. Alex
Maleev. Yeah, Alex Maleev with his Daredevil run with Bendis. And, just not very detailed, but simple and great storytelling.
Yeah.
Great panel-to-panel storytelling. Very like Will Eisner. Didn't do anything splashy.
And then, since I have been driving so much, I will plug this other book by Colson Whitehead. It's called Harlem Shuffle. It's set in...
That was a trend. on TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a Harlem Shake. My bad.
Yeah. No, this is a little darker than that. It's about this.
Some of those were pretty dark.
Starts in the 40s after World War II, and it's about this like small business owner who's crime adjacent. Like his cousin is like a small time crook, who like this guy runs a furniture store, and his cousin will bring him like jewelry that he robbed, and he'll fence it through other pawns that he knows and stuff. And it's 3 separate stories that escalate, and they all end up starting because of something stupid his cousin did that he has to get him out of. But they keep escalating, and he keeps getting deeper and deeper and smarter into the crime. And it just this Colson Whitehead paints like a spectacular picture of like Harlem, New York, and from the 40s through the 70s. And this guy's like kind of reluctant rise in crime and how it doesn't always really pay off and everything. And a great book. It was a good read. It was like it made the trip from Kentucky to St. Louis fly by, and then I finished it on the way to Wisconsin last week. It was
when you talked
spectacular.
about he owned a furniture business and they kind of had a little bit of a jewelry thing.
Yeah.
It made me think of I don't think we've ever talked about it on podcasts, but I think you and I are the only ones that ever watched it. Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil what the connection between the two is. But that might be one of the most underrated shows of last year. That show was fantastic.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez are all. Selena, I think, should have got an award or something. She's great in it.
I mean, Steve Martin is the like most reserved character in that compared to like Martin Short, who's just ridiculous. And then there's that one episode where he gets where he's got to flop around for a while. Just spectacular. Just
what's
chewing
her
up scenery.
Is it Jane Lynch? Yeah, Jane Lynch is Steve Martin's stunt double from when he was an actor on.
She wears the same. He wears a bowler hat everywhere he goes. He's wearing his look and everything.
She stole his girlfriend in the past and all kinds of stuff. It's a good show.
Oh, that's great.
So you got any other books that you're on?
So I'm in the middle of reading The Wicked and the Vine from Karen Gillian.
I read the first one. First 2 trades. I read the first 2 trades. Yeah.
The third one had a huge cliffhanger. I'm on trade 5 of 9.
It's a dark book.
It's a very dark book.
It's a dark book.
I think I started it and I never went back. Good?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Yeah. It's dark. It's got a lot of mythology and religion to it, which I kind of like. Mm-hmm. A lot like Neil Gaiman type levels of pulling out the gods that no one really knows about.
Yeah.
But a lot of mystery to it. So
it's funny that you said though it's got a lot of Neil Gaiman stuff to it, because I googled Wicked and Divine and I went to images and Neil Gaiman stuff pops up in the images, so you know where your bread's buttered. If you're carrying it, I'll read that. I need to go back to that.
Yeah, my in-laws got me. I had the first 4. My in-laws got me the other 5, so I could finish it.
You brought up something a while ago with the Spider-Man Black thing, and for whatever reason it hit me on a good underrated, and I'm sure you've read it. I'm sure we've all read it, but a good underrated Spider-Man story for those that have never read it. Remember Corey Andrews' Spider-Man Reign?
Yeah.
That art style.
I loved it.
That was a good story.
A lot of people say it's not great, though.
The art or that story?
The story.
As an entertaining story.
I thought it was a great one-shot what-if story.
Yeah, people are crazy. That's a great story. Doc Ock being... his body being dead, and I thought all
the
of
computer saloon, and then like Sandman's daughter.
Yeah. Good stuff. That's good stuff.
It was great.
That was Corey Andrews was an artist first, and then ended up writing that. Because Andrews got a big break during Spider Clan, Legend of the Spider Clan.
Yeah.
And that stuff, I thought that was fun too.
The Marvel Mangaverse.
Yeah, the Mangaverse. That was my favorite part of it.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's the one that made the most sense.
Yeah. One more book I had was Punk Mambo by Cullen Bunn. It's a Valiant comic. It's not.
Oh, I know. So yeah, Punk Mambo. I just recently read that Book of Death, and Punk Mambo is like a voodoo.
Yeah, she's like a voodoo. I only read the first trade. I haven't read the rest of them yet. It's good. I like that voodoo stuff. I like the. Basically, she in the first one she can call on a demon, and spells don't work on her or whatever. And then, like, if she does get into too much trouble, she can call on this demon, and it comes up and saves her ass all the time. And in the first trade, somebody steals that demon from her, and she's got to try to get it back. It's pretty solid. Art's okay. Cullen Bunn just paints a pretty good story. I give it a solid 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, you know, the one thing I'll say about Punk Mambo, the one thing I'll say about that book I read, and I think I told you guys I was reading it. I didn't really bring it up to review on here. It's like a 3 out of 5 if you want to check it out. That
Punk Mambo?
No, Book of Death from Valiant.
Oh, okay.
It got pretty. What made me want to read it is that 10 best universes outside of DC and Marvel.
Yeah, that's the collaboration book with all of them, right?
The Valiant. It was one of their last big stories, and it got some good critical review. I tell you what, I read the 4 issues, and I didn't read all the other side issues. And I know that, you know, even with DC and Marvel, you can lose a little bit of the story when you do it. But I read it, I got through, I was like, boy, this went nowhere.
Yeah.
And they bring Punk Mambo in and Ninjak's in it and all of them, and all those characters show up and don't do anything in the book.
Isn't the Vin Diesel movie Bloodshot or whatever? He's a Valiant character.
It's a Valiant character. And, you know, I told you one of the things that frustrate me with this new Valiant universe, and I haven't looked too far into it, but there's no Solar.
Yeah.
And I guess that's because he's probably also still partially owned by Gold Key.
Yeah.
Or something. There's got to be something to do with
they might not have the rights to him anymore.
They probably had the rights in the 80s and 90s when they started making it under the Jim Shooter era.
Yeah.
And then it dissolved when Valiant dissolved then and was rebought.
Yeah, because there were a couple other characters that were with him that they used. I can't think of who they are now. Exo Manowar, I think.
No, Exo's still in there.
Is he?
It's so Exo, Bloodshot, Punk Mambo, the Eternal Warrior, Archer and Armstrong, and I think that's the core. There's no Rye in the Future Force, and there's no Magnus Robot Fighter, which were all...
That's the other one.
Yeah.
Harbinger, did you mention Harbinger and Shadow Man?
Harbinger and Shadow Man. I don't know if they're in it. This new Valiant universe. Right
Shadow Man seemed kind of cool. That was another one I was gonna dive. It's in my favorited list that I just haven't gotten around to.
And I could be wrong, but I think there was a significant amount of those books were owned by other companies and they were allowed. But it was really cool stuff. Like the Unity when I was first getting into really getting into comics, Unity was hitting.
Yeah.
And you had to get them all to put that poster together. And that was a big book. That Unity got really good value to it at one point. That was good stuff. That's what made me read that. I may read some more Valiant.
They had that Image crossover at the same time too.
That was a little bit later than Unity, but that was what was the name of that? That was
it was all different colors instead of issue numbers. I can't think
silver,
of what it is.
gold, and what was big about
Deathmate, I think.
Deathmate,
yeah.
And what was big about that? Deathmate Black was the prelude, but what was big about that? That was Gen 13's first appearance before their actual book, and that book got really big value on it.
In that issue was set in St. Louis.
Yes, it was. It was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And what was the whole point of Deathmate is Solar and the what was her name, Void or whatever from Wildcats.
Yeah.
They became aware of each other in each other's universe, and they fell in love, and them falling in love and essentially having weirdo sex merged the two universes because they were that powerful.
Amazing.
So that was good stuff.
Comic books for weird shit like
Do
that.
you have any other books you want to talk about, or you want to jump into our quick hits and stuff?
I know you watched Eternals recently, but it caused me to go back to the Jack Kirby comics, and they're so rough to read right now.
Oh, that's tough stuff, man.
Artistically cool. Very hard to read, though. I did that with Mr. Miracle.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was, this is, I think, issue 5. They're talking about the deviants attacking New York, and one of the characters goes, I know well, Circe, my guess is that you've beaten off a few already. Talking about the deviants. I'm like, I've always seen those little clips someplace, but I've never read one in person. So I thought that was hilarious.
Unintentional porn.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Twitter files that do that. There's a Moon Knight one, and they're changing them around. But the one where he's like, Dracula, where the fuck you at, asshole? You owe me my money.
That's a meme. But if there was a recent article,
there's a whole thing of them.
There was a recent article from Comic Book Resources where the actual story also is insane. If you read that issue. Well, let's get to the letter column part. First thing I want to start with and I only brought 3 things to go over in this. And I wanted to start with Peacemaker. It's still on my list, but before we get to Peacemaker...
I haven't watched Peacemaker yet.
Well, we'll talk briefly about it.
Yeah.
But the thing I wanted to bring up is what Marvel released 3 days ago, and I kind of hope they do it for you are a fucking gorilla. Yeah. A bull in a china shop right now is...
Well, it's like a goddamn obstacle course in here.
It's not that bad. There's plenty
There's
of
like
space.
3 wires.
Hey, we just talked. He's put on some weight. It's hard to fit through.
He's the one drinking, too.
And he's the one drinking. So the thing I wanted to bring up is Marvel released the definitive Power Stone timeline. So it's the Power Stone's the one that has appeared in the most films. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to go over the timeline with you. It obviously started with the birth of the Infinity Stones. Mm-hmm. And it was used by a Celestial. Then it was. Then there was a failed attempt at harnessing the stone from something I can't remember, and then it was how. Then it became encapsulated in the Morag, which was the stone or that sphere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then it was taken, or in 2014, it was taken by Nebula, and they even have the broken timeline part of it. On. Then it gets taken by Peter Quill. Then it gets dropped by Peter Quill. And then temporarily dehoused from the orb. Then it was accidentally used to destroy the Collector's Museum. Then it was obtained by Nebula. Then it was successfully wielded by Ronan. Then it was used to destroy the Nova Corps. Mm-hmm. Then it was used against the Guardians. Then it was used in attempts to destroy Xandar. Then it was taken by Peter Quill. Peter's had this thing a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Then it was used by the Guardians to defeat Ronan. Then it was secured on Xandar. And then in 2018, it was taken by Thanos from Xandar. Then it was used to wipe out all of life by Thanos. Then it was used by Hulk to restore all life. Because that's where they show you after it's used to wipe out. You got to go back, and you go right back to taken by Nebula, and that branches it off where you see the Captain America part of it. And then, so then in 2023, because that flashed forward, it was used by Hulk to restore all life. Then it was used by Tony Stark to wipe out Thanos, and then it drops back to 2014 where it's Captain America goes back, and that's when you follow it back.
Yeah.
And then there's this alternate one up here that says used as paperweights. So I kind of hope they do something like that with every stone that they can in the films, because I think that's pretty fun that they do that. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because, and I've read a handful of the stories, Marvel's getting a lot of shit for how they're fucking up their own timeline with all these...
It's like almost impossible.
It is impossible, yeah. I mean, it seems like something you could help by not including time travel this time around moving forward.
Yeah.
But the way they're going to fuck it all up is by using alternate realities.
Yeah, multiverses and shit, yeah.
But... anyway, I wanted to bring that up because I thought that's cool. You can look at Marvel UK and Marvel Instagram, and they have the little diagram, and it's kind of a fun diagram to check out. What do you got, Jay?
So the Moon Knight trailer dropped, and the release date.
What do you think so far?
I'm excited for it. I'm gonna probably do a lot of reading before it comes out, just to get to know these different characters.
I've started reading the new stuff on the newest one on the Marvel app because I figured that's probably going to be one that they're going to.
Who's writing the newest one? Because I think they're taking a lot from Alan Moore's run, right? Wasn't it Alan Moore?
No.
Who?
Stephen Platt had a famous drawn run for a while.
Yeah. No, who did the one? Never mind.
There was one not too long ago, which was awesome.
Warren Ellis did a run.
It's Warren Ellis. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where he introduced
Alan Moore's
Mr.
something.
Knight.
I brought something for Alan Moore. That's why I was stuck in my head.
But I think they're touching on the Max Bemis run.
Yeah, that's the cool run.
Yeah.
That's the one that... So this trailer makes it look like he's not dealing with multiple personality disorder, but maybe some sort of dissociative disorder.
Yeah, he's compartmentalized his character, his brain or whatever.
But it looks awesome.
It does.
And I guess that's the Sun King, is what we can...
So... I don't remember.
We're talking about Ethan Hawke, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his actual name is in the story, but they used a doctor from an earlier run, but they haven't said he's the Sun King yet, but that's what everyone's thinking.
Yeah, but considering the Sun King is an occult leader, and in that he clearly is an occult leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have a Moon Knight, having his villain, the Sun King, sounds pretty...
goes hand in hand.
That'd be a good first villain. I tell you this, though. Without much to go on, it looked like an awesome trailer. Oscar Isaac looks like he's nailing it.
Yeah. the brutality. They showed like an early release of like his fighting and stuff, and it looked pretty brutal.
Well, and he beats the shit out of that one person in it just over and over.
Yeah,
so
they had a real Batman feel to it.
Yeah.
Did you see the still? I didn't double check it to verify, but it said like one of the scenes where he's in the museum or whatever. There's boxes in the back, and they say Von Doom on them.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It says Von D.
Von D or something.
So,
all you can see is the Von D, but he's standing in
We're
front of
gonna
it.
And if
But I don't know how real that is. I didn't double check to verify.
we're getting Fantastic Four, and we're getting it, and it better have Krasinski, or the world is going to explode.
So
That's the rumor that he's been filming stuff.
and there's rumors though that this could tie into the post-credit scene from Eternals.
With Blade and Black Knight,
Yeah.
and Black Knight will eventually be in the Avengers, which he would. They've kind of retro done the Black Knight too in the comics. You know how he can be like. Of course, there was an article saying he can be as powerful as Thor. Well, Thor's hammer works how worthy you are. Black Knight's sword, the more fear you have, the more strength that you can have.
Yeah.
So,
But more it corrupts you.
it's like I
It's
said,
kind of just Ghost Rider.
it's kind of Green Lantern-ish is what it's kind of doing.
Ghost Rider works on fear too, right?
Well, no, Ghost Rider is a vengeance. He's the spirit of vengeance.
It's vengeance.
No,
It's
Man Thing.
I'm thinking of Man Thing.
He
Yeah.
who knows fear burns at the touch of Man Thing. I've been at Comic-Cons where guys are running around getting different celebrities to take a picture of their giant-sized Man Thing #1.
Nice.
Just like say, will you hold my giant-sized Man Thing for the picture? Yeah. That's the gimmick.
That's funny. Once.
That was before, but it was really funny back before Instagram was a thing.
Yeah.
So these guys just have a bunch of pictures somewhere, and it was their own personal joke. That's funny.
That is funny. I still think John Krasinski would be a great Mr. Fantastic, but I'm also pulling for Raul Kali, the guy from Midnight Mass. And
I like that guy.
And what was the iZombie is the other big thing he was in. Spectacular. And
Midnight. I told Missy that I don't ever want to go to church, but if I did, I'd want my priest to be a non-vampire version of the dude from Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
Because he was. Every time he talked, I was captivated.
Well, Raul Kali's the police chief.
Oh, that's
the
right.
Indian
That's
dude.
right. Yeah.
But somebody superimposed him over that. They replaced John Krasinski's face with his, and then he was like, "Listen, I haven't been asking for this, but I'm on board now that I've seen this." And his Instagram, he bought a cheap Mr. Fantastic suit and put it on. It was like he was at marveling like the guy who did for Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Speaking of Eternals, I'll bring that up real quick. I finally watched Eternals.
I'm still trying to find time.
That's the key. Find time. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's fine, but it's nothing that you have to sit down and schedule 2 hours for.
Yeah.
The post-credit scene was fine.
Yeah.
Wasn't much, really. Let me rephrase it. The Black Knight one was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very quick.
It's just Marshall Ali's voice, right?
That's it.
And you wouldn't even know it's him unless you do the research.
In my household, the bigger post-credit scene was the Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Which
I knew that one too.
Which is awesome. Here's my problem with the Eternals. There was some. Everybody says it was brilliantly casted and acted. It just wasn't a great story. I thought the casting was fine. You can't sit and tell me that movie was really well acted. It doesn't lend itself to be very hard to act in.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Kumail Nanjiani, he could have not been in the movie and it wouldn't have changed the movie a lick.
Yeah.
That's the complaint I heard was there was too many characters and not enough backstory.
I mentioned to him, it's very hard. I guess they did as good as they could when you're pulling off some obscure characters with thousands and thousands of years of backstory and putting them all in a movie that no one has ever seen or seen any of them before.
And then there were characters they barely even touched on.
Yeah.
I told Jeremy I thought it would have been better as a Disney Plus series and do like 10 episodes where you can explain everybody.
Each episode could have been a character profile on their time throughout history, and then also.
That's a complaint for Disney Plus that I'll have in a minute. Go ahead.
Here's the other thing, and there's a bunch of articles that talk about this, so this is not an original thought, but it is deadly accurate. And I'm not ruining it for you, but had Icarus not killed her, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
The whole point of this was to have the Celestial hatch, and the Eternals decided they were going to save Earth,
Yeah.
they would not have known about it had he not killed, what's her name, Salma Hayek's character. Ajak, yeah. And he killed her because he didn't want them to find out. But they only found out because he killed her. I mean,
it's self-fulfilling
and
prophecy.
by the way, the deviants wouldn't have got strong enough had he not. It was just of all the Marvel movies, it's the most paper thin plot we've seen, and that is my issue with the movie. Other than that, it was okay.
I liked it better than Black Widow.
I don't know that I did, but I could see where you would. You flip a coin any given day, what mood I'm in, and I could replace the other one. But anyway, what do you got, Bender?
I brought, this popped up when we said we were going to do this, Alan Moore's comic book movie adaptions and the things he said about them.
Oh, he hates them all.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, he hates them all, but he gets a little bit of a bad rap. So we'll start with, there's 6
Now,
of
I've
them.
met Alan Moore long time ago.
Really?
It's justified, his entire rap.
Yeah.
His shtick is him. It was before conventions changed and before he swore off going to them.
Yeah. He just sounds like a curmudgeon who hates everything.
That's Alan Moore.
Yeah.
That's him.
Well, real quick, I just grabbed what he said from the 6 movies that they've adapted. From Hell was the first one of his movies they adapted.
It might be the best adaptation.
And he says, I think I got 10 minutes in and realized that it had been a bad idea to watch it after all.
Yeah.
I thought the trailer was enough, but I thought I should at least try to be fair. I just thought it was a travesty, so I turned it off. I'm the last person who could be fair about a film that there didn't seem to be any point to. Either tormenting myself or just being unfairly critical about a film that obviously isn't going to follow the book anyways.
Yeah.
And then League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, boy.
Which was bad in anyways.
And this is the one that made
Sean Connery stop acting.
It made Sean Connery stop acting and made Alan Moore officially declare Hollywood.
So this isn't technically also his fault either. This one here, though. He said
None of them are his fault.
Sean Connery didn't want to play as a drug-addled individual, so the main part of Quartermain's character was thrown out the window by the whim of an actor. And then he got sucked into a lawsuit by 20th Century Fox, who made the movie because they said because he wrote the book in like 1999 through 2000.
Yeah.
It started in like 99.
Yeah.
And then they bought the rights for it almost immediately, and then they made a movie in 2003, and then they were sued because they made it look like somebody sued him basically saying that Fox made him write a book. And then they bought the book from him to sell it, and they basically, somebody else wrote a similar plot. And he was like, I got drawn into something that wasn't even my... He goes, I'm fucking done with movies after this. That's what he basically said. Then there was Constantine. He washed his hands of the movie altogether and had the money sent to the artist. He said, some lady from DC called and said, yeah, we're going to be sending you a huge amount of money before the end of the year because they're making a film of your character Constantine with Keanu Reeves. He said... Right. Okay. Well, take my name off it. Distribute the money amongst the other artists. I felt it was that difficult, but I felt pretty good about it after that.
Here's the problem with the Constantine film. It has nothing to do with a very awesome character.
Yeah. But it's still an awesome movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a good movie that deserved a sequel.
Yeah.
But they should have just called it like Johnny Hellstopper or something like that.
Which will tie into something I'll talk about next.
And then there's just 2 more. V for Vendetta.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay, it was a little... Was that the Wachowskis? That was the Wachowskis, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
They were the brothers still.
They're still brothers.
But he said, I read the screenplay, so
name them. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he said, I read the screenplay, so I know exactly what they're doing with it, and I'm not going to be seeing it, is what he said out of the gate. And then he said... It lost its roots. It's been turned into a Bush-era parable by people too timid to set political satire in their own country.
Yeah.
Which is, I get it. It was the war, like soon after. Because it was like 2005 or whatever. I'm sorry. I had Watchmen too. I can tell you that I will be spitting venom for a while, for the next couple months on this one.
Well, see, he's been mad over Watchmen, not just the film. Was mad they did a sequel, mad they brought the characters back.
Yeah.
Well, he said, it's as if... We are freshly hatched birds looking up looking up with our mouths open, waiting for Hollywood to feed us more regurgitated worms. The Watchmen film sounds like more regurgitated worms. I, for one, am sick of worms. Can't wait to see something else.
Here's the thing. This is going to be a hot take real quick for you. V for Vendetta, not a great read either.
No.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
I read it.
It's not bad, but it's like all of his stuff. Like so,
just beating you over the head.
Well, here's what I compare it to. Watchmen, which I will also say is one of the greatest stories ever written in comics. When I first 2 times I read Watchmen, I did not read Curse of the Black Pearl in the back.
No, because it's too long.
Or Curse of whatever it is, not Black Pearl. That's
I know what you're saying. The pirate comic within the comic.
And V for Vendetta, although great art, good story idea, there's times where I would just, when I read it the first few times, skipped whole pages. Like, oh, I don't need that page. Oh, I don't need that page. This book just drags.
Yeah.
The movie was not bad.
No, it wasn't.
Of all those movies, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is the biggest cow patty.
Yeah.
That is a turd.
Well, there's one more, which I have. This is the only one that I haven't watched. It's The Killing Joke, which is fairly new.
Well, that's a cartoon. Yeah,
it's
I watched
a cartoon.
it. Yeah,
but he said,
they butchered that, where he ends up having sex with
Batgirl.
Yeah. But he said,
no sense involved.
Yeah.
He said, I've asked for my name to be removed from it and for the monies accruing from it to be sent to the artist, which is my standard position with all of this material. Actually, with The Killing Joke, I have never really liked it much as a work, although I, of course, remember Brian Boland's art as being absolutely beautiful. Boland. Simply because I thought it was too violent and sexualized a treatment for a simplistic comic book character like Batman, and a regrettable misstep on my part.
Yeah, the coloring of that book was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read it. It's a good book. I mean, it's a tough read, but
I like Killing Joke. What was your segue off of that?
So we watched Snake Eyes.
Oh boy,
the G.I. Joe thing.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see how this ties into.
If it wasn't a Snake Eyes movie, I would have enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. So just
talks?
Well, he talks. He doesn't act like the character at all.
Oh.
And so it's like, I'm like, I want to like this movie, but knowing the source material, I can't like it.
It's on for free on something now.
Yeah.
Oh,
we grabbed it from the library.
Oh, speaking of, how on earth did you guys watch Free Guy?
I haven't watched it, but it's on Disney Plus.
It is not on Disney
it's not.
Plus.
My brother bought it on Vudu.
Oh, that's how you watched it. Because I was like,
I know it's coming to Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
I got a chastising from my wife because I got her all geared up to watch a Ryan Reynolds movie. It's like, yeah, Jay and the family watched it. He came downstairs, his son was watching it, and I turned it on, and I'm like, how the fuck did he watch it?
I found out
on Disney Plus to you.
I found out after the fact. My brother had bought it on Vudu, and that's how he found
February. It's like February. It didn't, and then I spent, and this shows you, instead of just texting you, or I've been waiting to confront you in person to person, I spent like 10 minutes researching if Disney Plus accidentally leaked it. Like, and I was like, in fact, it's
could have just asked.
It's the full. It's the first one getting a dual release. It's going to be on Max and Plus at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's odd.
Yeah.
Well, let's go. Let's segue into real quick. I could segue out of both 2 things you talked about there, but I'm going to segue from the HBO Max into Peacemaker. We're not going to ruin it for you.
You probably will.
I'm going to tell you right now. For me, it's a 5 out of 5, just like the Suicide Squad was.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's a TV series that is connected to DC Comics. I can't believe how deep they go, referencing Matter Eater Lad, referencing some of the things they do. And the big notes that all I get into is the 2 best parts of this show is, 1, John Cena clearly loves it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he loves playing this guy, and it shows on screen. And I didn't look his name up, but whoever's playing Vigilante is fucking hilarious.
He's great.
He's so plays the character so dry, like so straightforward that he doesn't know he's a douchebag and insane. And the scene where he goes in and starts dropping all those insults on the Aryans in the jail.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is... Missy loves it. That's how good of it is. A good show it is.
I wanted to pull the trigger on it, but I knew Rachel wouldn't watch it. So
don't watch it with the kids around.
No. That's the other reason I have.
Not because of the language. Because the amount of times John Cena's in his underwear or banging some chick.
Yeah. And the opening sequence is great.
Yeah, the dance sequence is so fun. You want to watch it every time.
Yeah.
What's your early too soon to be rated rating?
I'd give it a 5 too.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, I didn't realize John Cena was going to be such a good act. Like he's that Vacation Friends.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Fucking enjoyable.
He's embraced the things that The Rock
won't.
It's not that he won't. It's just like it's like somebody said, Cena, you're not The Rock in the same kind of charisma, so we're gonna make you goofy. And he's like, man, I'll lean into it.
I just think that's kind of he seems like he's that guy, you know.
But there's around the wrestling world, he doesn't take himself seriously, but he takes things too seriously. Like his own girl, they broke up because he did not want to bring a kid into the world because it would ruin what he had planned. He's very rigid in his stuff.
Oh, really?
But he seems awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
He even read mean tweets in the character of Peacemaker.
That's
and some of them were about Cena, and it was great. Oh, he goes, well, one of the first one, he goes, how are we supposed... I can't believe HBO made a series about Peacemaker. We're not even going to be able to see him on screen. And he looks up and he goes, how long do I have to be in Hollywood before that's not a fucking joke? So it's good. So what else you got? Something quick.
I started C with the wife because I knew she wouldn't like Peacemaker. I love it.
It gets better as it goes.
We're like 4. He just rescued his son.
He's so
dude,
brutal.
that's a sick fight.
I told you,
watch it?
What is it?
C with Jason Momoa
on HBO.
No, I haven't yet.
Like I said, the only way to describe it, it's a world full of daredevils.
Yeah.
Set in medieval times.
Yeah.
It's future times. Medieval version where everyone's daredevil.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sorta.
They're all daredevil.
It's my only slight complaint to the show is it's several thousand years past this play or wherever everybody couldn't see. Number one, nobody ages except for those 2 kids because everybody looks great still.
Oh yeah.
But that's fine. I like the. So some people have heightened senses. Like some people they smell or they hear better, but they don't play enough into that. I think like you think of evolution eventually like if you're gonna lose something you gain other things. You think they would play into it a little bit more, and they really don't. I do like, and my other note was that for being a bunch of blind people, everybody looks fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Like their style is spectacular.
And their buildings and stuff.
No, the set pieces are absolutely gorgeous.
But they shouldn't be.
No.
They don't make, like, you wouldn't build a home off of the way it looks.
There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of random fire around.
Have you got to the assassin or the spies yet?
No. Oh, the girl in white?
Yeah, they're...
Yeah. Well, another thing, very cool looking, but why is that necessary when no one can see you?
Well, it's to cover themselves in mud and stuff.
I know.
But in the second season, though, they're even creepier.
Yeah. Oh, it's very fun. It takes a while to be like, well, there's no way I don't understand how they could build that structure.
You got to suspend your disbelief quite a bit.
All right.
But in season 2, though, I'm telling you, Momoa starts because he gets real sick. And he gets real run down, and his acting chops just go through the roof. He's not everyone in this is really acting like they're blind. They're just acting like they got superpowers.
Yeah.
Great shots. Yeah. He is acting like the way he kills people and the way he moves. He's the one that's most leaned into the role. And in season 2, the guy has his chiropractor or his physical therapist has to help him out because he is hunched over for most of the filming because he's a blind dude.
Yeah,
he's on the ground. Like he goes into this battle and he throws these rocks on the ground so that like he can hear people and like he hits the ground so he can feel where the walls are. Dude, it's very, very well done.
All of his attacks are very efficient because he's got to kill and move on to the next without making too much noise. It's awesome.
I've never seen the scene where he cuts that dude's neck.
He's got this round the sword around their head slice that
like he just barely opens the sheath and then just goes around their head, and I've just never seen it in a show before. It's fucking wild.
It's a good show.
I'll have to check it out.
It's worth watching, I think. I watched we don't need to talk about this. I'll go into the next thing I watched today, but I did watch Finch on HBO or Apple TV.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Which one's that?
That's the Tom Hanks robot one.
Oh, okay.
The robot's a lovable character. It's worth watching. It's worth watching even with the kids maybe, but it's okay. It's not Castaway, but it's all right. I did watch, and this goes back to kind of what we were talking about a little bit with that Alan Moore comment or something. I can't remember what tied into. Injustice. Injustice was trending pretty hard on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah.
Based on the game, which spawned a pretty critically successful comic, which spawned the anime, which is, I put on here, I don't know why I put 3 out of 5. It's a 2.5 out of 5 because it did not capture the brutality of the game or comic, and it has too hopeful of an ending, and it just fell super flat. I'm going to ruin something for you. Dick Grayson dies in it because Damien hits him in the temple with a baton. And they do a slow motion take on it. And it's the dumbest thing you've ever seen. And DC pretty much knocks it out of the park with these animated films, too. This is not one of them. It's poopy. So I would suggest watching their Dark Knight.
Would you equate that to Steve Irwin being killed by a stingray? Like just
that seems way more dangerous than what happened to Nightwing.
I'm just saying, like, the plausibility of like the things that Steve Irwin would have died of. Rest in peace, by the way.
Yeah,
like stingrays, like real low on that list.
How many alligators did he wrestle? And
he's like
snakes
the only. It's like him and one other person ever on record being killed by a stingray, and I think the other one's foot got caught on it or something.
Well, no, there's been multiple people, and they say...
But no one's been stabbed through the heart by one.
They say what the most dangerous thing with stingrays is swim over the top of them, because that's what they do. They
got that barb. That's all they have.
Hit that one, it was a direct hit.
Yeah.
What's more improbable, stingray hitting someone in the heart, or a third base coach getting impaled by a baseball bat into the heart, which happened in an MLB game a few years ago.
Yeah.
Bat exploded. No, they had to be taken to the hospital. Oh, it was a player.
Like stuck in him?
It was a player on third base.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
It came down the line and hit him like fucking blade throwing.
That's like that bird that exploded. That was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's been forever. That's all I brought. What else you got? You got anything else?
Nope.
I had one other movie that I watched that was on. It's on Netflix.
It's called related.
Sort of.
Okay.
Jude Law's in it.
Okay.
He was in Captain Marvel.
There's the connection. 6 degrees of separation.
Yep. It's called Black Sea. It's really good. It's got Nazis. Well, they're dead.
I went to watch that. Wait. Is it the scary one, or is it?
It's called Black Sea. It's got the two big people that you would know as Jude Law and Ben Mendelsohn are in it.
Oh, no. This is where they go down to get the gold.
They go to get the gold from a Nazi sub.
Movie.
It's not a bad movie. It's solid hour and 40 minutes of like.
I don't want to spoil for you. They go to get gold, and almost everyone dies.
Yeah, a lot of tension, and again, it's almost everyone dies from one guy's terrible decisions.
One bad decision, yeah.
But it's good. It was.
Yeah, I like that movie.
It's rare to see. First of all, Jude Law looks like a normal dude.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool. And he's like, it's rare to see him be like a real badass and pull it off. And he was kind of like a crazy boat captain in this, and I thought he pulled it off really well.
We got a lot of shows that upon finishing viewing them, we'll have to talk about. Missy and I are damn near done with season 1 of Ozark and Yellow Jackets.
Wait. Season 1 or season 4?
I mean, sorry, the recent season.
I haven't watched Ozark ever, and I heard Yellow Jackets is spectacular.
So Yellow Jackets, you remember the movie Alive?
Yeah.
If it was only women and the occult was thrown into the mix. Yeah. And it is a wild. And when I mean wild, it is insane. But it's worth it. Totally worth it. But yeah, and then season 4, the part 1 of the final season of Ozark.
I guess I'm
we're pretty good into that.
The trigger on it.
It's good.
Yeah. I did the first season. I really liked it.
The only problem I have with it is Wendy. At times, they've taken Wendy on a character trajectory of starting unlikable, becoming you can't even like her at the least, and then she becomes kind of the balls of the family, and she's like, oh, maybe Wendy's great. And this season, it's like everything that comes out of her mouth makes you want to throw your remote at the TV.
So she's Walter White's wife in Breaking Bad?
No, for different reasons. Walter White's wife just was like just a bad plot device and everything. And just like the baby. They just didn't work.
Yeah, they didn't know how to use her at all.
Although still great series. Wendy just... The things that make her tick sometimes makes you hate every ounce of her being, and this season's one of those. She constantly is fucking up just by opening her mouth. But there's also been seasons like the last one where she saved their ass by doing shit saying, all right, I'm going to smoke this have this motherfucker
Doing gangster
off.
shit.
Yeah, because my husband's too big a pussy to pull the trigger. So, yeah, good show. But the Yellow Jackets, though, I highly recommend checking that out.
The next one I think on my list is Archive 81. It's supposed to be pretty good.
We started it. We started it at a bad time in the day with, like, the girls were in and out, and it was daytime. And I want to see it. I want to watch it.
Looks pretty good.
And the reviews have been amazing. But at 1 o'clock on a Sunday, it was not the time to start it.
Yeah.
What were you about to say?
I started the Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, that's great.
God,
I haven't watched the newest
Is it?
season,
I
but I
need to
watched
watch
the
it.
first season. That's Danny McBride.
Yeah.
I mean, just Danny McBride being Danny McBride. I was looking at someone's Facebook page. Oh, Dan Mafood, who DJ Moth.
One more, by the way.
He was watching Righteous Gemstones, and he posted a picture on his Facebook page of the time he was doing a show in L.A., and they were at a bar, and Danny McBride was just sitting at the bar, so they got drunk with Danny McBride. He said he's the funniest person they've ever met in real life.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's fucking great.
You're fucking out.
Yeah.
I'll come all over this place. That's my favorite line from the end of the world.
I finished Champagne Ale, which is the one season. I don't think it's ever coming back. Hulu show with Adam Polly.
Well, did you see when that show came out?
2018.
Yeah, it ain't coming back.
No, but it was. I think it was originally a YouTube show. It was great. Like, they start out idiots. Then it gets a little dark for like 3 episodes. And you're like, are they gonna learn something? And it swings around to the end. Like, nope, they learned nothing. Spectacular.
That's great.
Spectacular ending.
Well, I don't know that I have anything else. Like we said, we're going to come back next week with a wrestling show with the Silver Badger. So we will not have Bender on that one. So you've been warned. Is Badger going to Royal Rumble? He talked about all of us going, and then we never heard anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's the thing, and this is a comment to the Badger. When you send a text out or feelers out and say, who's interested in going to the Royal Rumble? And you say, I'd be down, and someone else says they'd be down. It's then on you to also say, how do we want to arrange the ticket getting and things like that. Like, for instance, one thing I want to touch on. We have officially started phase 1 of Planet Comic-Con planning. So
it's in April. I don't really have an excuse now.
As I say, it's around phase 2 is when Bender, after I booked hotels, that's when Bender's going to cancel. Yeah.
I will give you money.
You don't have to give me money. It's just say you're going and buy your ticket.
Well, if I give you money, then I have to go.
Okay. Or if you buy your ticket for Comic-Con, you have to go.
That's true. Are they up for sale yet?
I think they are.
I think so.
So we're excited about that. I said in the thread, this year's theme is Planet Comic-Con Kansas City. This time, no concussions. Can't promise anything, though.
Someone's losing a finger.
Yeah, that's right. So we're excited about. But yeah, so back to what we were talking about with Tom. So we just never heard anything. So Tom, if you're listening to this, which I doubt you are this long into the episode, and I'll tell you in person next week, if you reach out and say, let's do something, well, then take the ball and run. Because here's the thing, everybody can't buy separate tickets. Someone has to buy the tickets, so we sit together. There's no point in doing it unless you sit together. Royal Rumble in St. Louis is a good time. I've been to them in St. Louis. So I wish we were. He's not here. We're not going to talk about that. That's all next week. So no Badger to say bye, but we do have Bender to say.
Hold on to your butts.
And Jay.
Bye.
Yeah, he was a little more excited when it was about comic books. So we're going to play the music. And this episode's done. This is the first time in a long time it's been close to 1 hour.